After 3 prison sentences, a total of 11 years in jail, the Malaysian opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim has been released on a royal pardon. Mr Anwar started the opposition movement, which has just defeated the former ruling party in Malaysia for the first time in the country's history.
Now, it's taken 20 years, 2 times in jail, and a brutal beating by the police for Anwar Ibrahim to be here. A Prime Minister in waiting, the chance to transform Malaysia into a democratic country.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Saya ingin nyatakan penghargaan saya kepada Ilham Habibi dan penganjur Indonesian Economic Forum dan mohon maaf kerana tidak dapat kesempatan untuk bersama dan ada jadual yang terpaksa saya penuhi. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are now facing an unprecedented period, political and economic, and would warrant, therefore, new, ingenious measures to tackle the new challenges. I would begin by suggesting a stated fact that ASEAN has the strength, the 6th economic power, and it has to be fully utilized. We have had a great history of achievement in containing internal fractious squabbles. We have seen the vibrancy of ASEAN, the economy growing and propelling, settling enormous problems of unemployment and poverty in our midst. But ASEAN is yet to fulfill a major agenda, the economic trade agenda. And during this period of upheaval, the trade war between China and America, other than lamenting the failures and the negative impact on our economies, is for us to seize, firstly, the opportunity to ensure that we remain an attractive destination for new investments from China and the United States. The days of cheap labor, low manufacturing sector is somewhat over. ASEAN countries have shown enormous capability of producing talented workforce, and the trade war has its positive ramifications for ASEAN. Firstly, we will find more interest from these 2 economic powers, United States and China, to use ASEAN as their base, conduit to increase exports, avoiding the direct trading arrangements between those 2 big powers. How do we then utilize this opportunity? Our macroeconomic policies has to be adjusted. We have to be seen to be very efficient. The ease of doing business must be hastened. Taxation policies must be seen to be attractive. And of course, the focus that we focus on is the new areas of services industry, robotics, artificial intelligence, and general technology. This is, of course, up to the various countries to determine and decide according to their capabilities. But what I would urge is for ASEAN leaders to refocus from regional strategic considerations, which may still be relevant, particularly in the South China Sea, but economy remains fundamental. We have achieved major strides in economic development. But ASEAN, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, for example, are still grappled with major problems of endemic or abject poverty and gross inequality between those elites who are powerful politically and economically, and the masses which remain marginalized and downtrodden. From the great works of Piketty or Stiglitz or earlier political economists like John Rawls, we have been told that a purely focused market economic reforms and capitalistic framework, whilst is preeminent in our policy direction, will not be deemed to be sufficient in dealing with the issue of equitable distribution, creating new opportunities to the larger segment of the population. So training and entrepreneurial skills must be revived and further enhanced. We talk about Industrial Revolution 4.0 with a special focus on digital revolution. And I, in Malaysia, for example, is focusing on what I term as digital native agenda. How we could galvanize our resources to refocus on what is deemed to be strategic and critical in advancing our economies. Because through this new approach, then we can utilize the expertise and resources in agriculture, in industry, in education, in training, in the services sector through digital native agenda. It is native because it is not totally dependent on the expertise of foreigners, because it is timed through skills and entrepreneurship that we create new opportunities for the younger, intelligent workforce to venture into this competitive period. And the competitive advantage will finally rest upon countries that move beyond the normal focus that's being prevalent, that has allowed us to succeed in many ways. So, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, given this scenario where there is newfound freedom, new engagements, and a society that is craving for change and reform, we must also channel it towards something very fruitful in economic terms, in new arena of investment and economic activities. And my humble view is for ASEAN to emerge as more prominent, effective force, it has to refocus its attention from strategic political considerations, which must be done and continue, but to this new alignment of cooperation and collaboration at a higher enhanced level of economic collaboration, which would include, to my mind, new arenas in the services sector, in the technological sector, and digital economy. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as I've said, these are unprecedented, critical times that would demand ASEAN countries to take new, bold measures to deal with these challenges. We will not ignore the importance of strategic political arrangements that's been a major area of success, except for the South China Sea. But in the economic realm, we will have to do much more to attract the interests of other countries, particularly China and the United States. But for us, is not going back to the old ways of doing business. We have to refocus our attention on the new up-end manufacturing sector, technology, and also services industry. But in terms of my personal view, to refocus on digital revolution, the need to enhance our capability to galvanize our resources and give opportunities to the young to utilize the new challenges, the new avenue of digital technology, or precisely digital revolution. I would like to take this opportunity to thank again our colleagues and congratulate them for this great endeavor. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum.